Yo, what is going on, guys? Got some more BT4 Great Legend gameplay for you guys. I'm playing a blue deck. Down at the bottom you can see that is kind of a blue yellow mix because I am also playing the Shakuamon, and my opponent up top is playing D-Brigade. So D-Brigade is one of those newer archetypes coming out of Great Legend, and it's super cool not only because it's a budget deck, but it's also one of the more aggro strategies you have for black, which we're not used to because we're used to just playing black as like a, blocker based deck. But anyways, my opponent is going to set up with his Commandramon, and then he just hard plays the Tankmon for 7, which is a little bit unfortunate, but Tankmon does have a very powerful ability. I'm going to be able to, first turn I played that Gabumon, and then I bring out my Grizzlymon, Digivolve the Shakuamon, and then I go straight into the Garurumon. Garurumon has a really cool effect. On Digivolve, you can Digiburst 2, and I'm just deciding which ones to get rid of, but none of them have effects, so it doesn't really matter. But basically, you can Digiburst 2, and then return one of your opponent's level 5 or higher Digimon back to their hand, so I get rid of the Tankmon, or Tankdramon, because I don't want him resolving any sort of like on deletion effect from the Commandramon, because the BT4 Commandramon has that on deletion effect, where if it dies, you can reveal the top 3 and then bring out another Commandramon. So then, because I do actually have a Digimon with 12,000 or more DP, or I think 10,000 or more, my opponent gets to play the Black War Greymon for a cost of 7, which is super cool. It kind of synergizes with his whole strategy, because you've already got Darkdramon, so he's playing a bunch of level 6s just straight from his hand, which is really cool, like, way to run the deck. You see my hand is a little bit awkward. I've got no rookies to Digivolve the Bukamon there, which is one of the newer Digi-Eggs, and I'm just going to instead Digivolve into Gorillamon, then finally get a rookie, go into the Gomamon that lets you gain a memory when it dies, and then I'm going to Digivolve into Shakuamon. Shakuamon's a really cool stun card that will affect any Digimon that doesn't have sources. It gives them security attack -2, I believe, so basically if he tries to swing into security, he's not going to actually check anything. Now, that doesn't stop him from attacking my Digimon, but Black War Greymon is 12,000, which is strong, but Garurumon is also 12,000, so I didn't really feel the need to go ahead and play a blocker because I didn't think he was going to suicide. But anyways, my opponent after that is just going to go straight into Millenniumon. So going into Millenniumon as a follow-up to the Black War Greymon, like playing a Mega for 7, is just really powerful. So Millenniumon lets him get rid of one of my Digimon, sends it back to the bottom of the deck, and then he's going to play that, Digivolve that for 6, draw a card, and then pass over to me. I'm going to start my turn with 5, Digivolve to the Ikakumon, which lets me trash one of my opponent's Digivolution sources, the top Digivolution source, anytime the Digimon on top of him is attacking. So it's really good when you have, your strong ultimates and megas on top of him, and just kind of controlling your opponent's sources through there. This is kind of like a budget source control deck. As you can see, I'm playing tons of cards that help me gain advantage, like Shakuamon. I'm playing the Gomamon there, which lets me, the promo Gomamon that gains me 1 memory anytime one of your Digimons, one of your opponent's Digimon has their sources trashed, so that's another cool interaction there. My opponent is just going to Digivolve into the Commandramon there in the back, and then after that he is going to, swing with the Millenniumon for 13,000. Oh, but unfortunately for him, I am playing Hammer Spark, so I'm going to gain 2 memory, putting my opponent back down to 2. So Hammer Spark, of course, is just a fantastic card. It has a great main effect as well as a great security effect. My opponent is going to play the Tankdramon for a cost of 7, which is unfortunate, but Tankdramon has a great effect, letting you reveal the top 2 cards of your deck and playing a Commandramon anytime one of your D-Brigade Digimon dies. So you see I do have the Marine Chimeramon there in my hand, which is a really cool card. I think it's a little bit underutilized. Well, I shouldn't say that because like BT4 is just coming out in English, but anyways, as far as like what I've been playtesting, Marine Chimeramon lets you return a Digimon with no sources back to your opponent's hand. So on play, I get to return something without sources to my opponent's hand, and you're asking, well, how did Millenniumon get returned to the hand? Well, it's because Matt lets you suspend him when you play Digimon, and I can resolve that in any order. Matt lets you suspend him to trash the bottom material of any Digimon. So I played Marine Chimeramon, use Matt's effect, trash the Millenniumon's material, and then use Marine Chimeramon's effect, return the Gabumon, and bounce this Millenniumon, which you could argue is not the best against a level 7. That has a really good on Digivolve effect, but it gets around Millenniumon. Now my opponent is going to Dark Roar, which is a really cool option card. Delete something with a play cost of 3 or less, but for each D-Brigade you have, that play cost limit increases by 1. So for the ones he had there, it's a 5 play cost is what he can kill, and he ended up deleting my Ikakumon. So that's pretty cool for only a 3 cost option card. I'm going to bring out my Gomamon, and I'm going to start my turn with 3, and I do have the ultimate on field, so I was considering going into Metal Seadramon. He has a pretty good on play effect, but you don't really want to Digivolve him. Like, the only good thing about that is like he can't be blocked, but he's only 10,000, so he's just like a one of. I'm playing again just to trash more Digivolution sources from your opponent's Digimon. I'm going to Digivolve into the Gorillamon there for a 1 cost, and then immediately gain that memory back with the Hammer Spark, and now I'm just trying to get advantage by drawing into the Gabumon. I played the Gabumon, suspended Matt, and then trash the Digivolution card. Gomamon then gives me 1 memory off of that, and you see I drew into the other Marine Chimeramon. So then what I could do here is play the second Marine Chimeramon and bounce back his Tankdramon, because that is a level 5 that I don't really want resolving. But anyways, I'm going to swing over the Commandramon there. He's going to get to play another Commandramon. Because of its on deletion effect, whenever it dies, you can just reveal the top 3 and play another Commandramon. Now, he's not actually going to get the Tankdramon's effect, because Tankdramon's effect is only during your turn. So even though his D-Brigade Digimon was deleted, he's not going to get that effect because it's only during my opponent's turn. And then lastly, I'm going to Digivolve into the Gorillamon for 1, and then use the second Marine Chimeramon to bounce. I would think, yeah, I'm going to bounce the first and then bounce back his Tankdramon. So it's not super advantageous to bounce like ultimate usually, because like you have to play him for 7. However, I think it's a really cool interaction that I can just keep reusing these Marine Chimeramons and keep getting rid of my opponent's level 5s and lower Digimon. My opponent is going to go ahead and play the Darkdramon. That is the D-Brigade boss monster. He does have a play cost of 13 after all. He is a mega level Digimon, but he has a really cool on-play effect where you get to look through your trash and take any number of D-Brigade up to 5, I believe, and put them on top of your deck and gain 2 memory for each one you return that way. So he's going to gain 6 memory, putting him back at 0. And not only that, but Darkdramon also does have Rush, which lets him attack the same turn he's played. And then he is going to go ahead and go into Millenniumon. That was such a powerful play, getting rid of 2 Digimon in the same turn and establishing a powerful level 7 all the while. So that was a really cool play, and I'm going to start my turn with 6 memory, going to Digivolve into the Gomamon there. And I do have the Marine Chimeramon as well as the Metal Seadramon in hand. But aside from that, my hand is like really awkward. I've got triple blockers, I've got triple Ikakumon. Like, I need some other like boss monsters. I'm playing some level 6s and level 7s, but I'm not seeming to like draw into them yet. So I'm going to just go ahead and Digivolve into the Metal Seadramon. He does have an on-play effect, which isn't relevant right now, but he also cannot be blocked by your opponent's Digimon without Digivolution sources. That's like a continuous effect. So that's a pretty cool effect. If my opponent does end up putting up blockers, I can kind of get around that. Then I'm going to go into Mach Gaugamon for a total cost of 3. He has a really cool Digiburst effect where I can just bounce a level 4 or lower Digimon back to the hand. So this deck is really kind of, it's like a control deck where I'm controlling my opponent's sources and just continuously bouncing stuff to the hand. So then again, I'm going to go ahead and play the Marine Chimeramon, use Matt's effect because blue Digimon was played, suspend it to trash the bottom source of my opponent's Millenniumon, and then Marine Chimeramon's effect activates, and then I can bounce back a Digimon without sources back to my opponent's hand. So effectively getting rid of his powerful level 7 and putting 2 ultimates on the field all the while. So my opponent is going to go ahead and Digivolve into the Commandramon and then play a couple more Commandramon. So I'm kind of getting worried because I only do have 2 security left at this point, and he's got 4 Digimon, 4 Commandramons in play, but Let's see what we can do about that. So I've got 3 Digimon in play, so I won't be able to win this turn because I don't have anything with the Rush ability. But I do have the Metal Seedramon in there, so I might be able to save myself a little bit. But I'm going to first of all go into the Grizzlymon, just set up a blocker for 2, draw a card, drew into another mat. Not sure how useful that's going to be at this point. And then after that, I'm going to just go ahead and swing with the Marine Chimeramon. Might as well, because even if he dies, I've got another ultimate on field that I can use for something else. And then I'm going to swing with the Mach Galgamon, since my Marine Chimeramon didn't end up dying, just putting pressure on my opponent. And then lastly, I'm going to go ahead and probably play the Metal Seedramon for a cost of 11. I am at 1 memory, so it's going to put my opponent at 10. And bouncing back rookies is not a very good move, but in this scenario where I was about to lose, it did come in handy. But unfortunately for me, it probably wasn't the best move, again, because my opponent does have Digimon who have the Rush ability, so he might be able to go into a Darkdramon and end the game anyways. But I'm going to block his Commandramon there, and he's going to reveal the top 3, and unfortunately no Commandramons among those cards, so not going to be able to play anything off of that. And I would guess he's probably just going to swing with his remaining Commandramon. Oh no, so he's going to Digivolve into Tankmon for 1, trying to draw into some cards. Tankmon is 6,000, so maybe he could crash with my Grizzlymon if he wanted to, but he needs to do something because otherwise he'll lose. He's going to go into the Gogmamon for 3. Gogmamon is a super cool card because it's got the Digiburst 1 effect, and you know, by just detaching 1 material, you can give your Digimon plus 2,000, which is a pretty big boost, you know, considering you can activate that multiple times. So you could potentially go up to plus 4,000, and that DP does carry over. So he's going to Digivolve into the Black War Greymon there. Black War Greymon is a super powerful card, and he's just going to swing over my blocker. Does have the effect where if he kills something with the highest DP, he can unsuspend himself, but Grizzlymon didn't have the highest DP. And then after that, he's just going to go into Millenniumon. So again, my opponent was able to come back, and leads me to believe that D-Brigade is actually a pretty solid deck, like, especially for it being relatively budget. Like, well, he is running the Millenniumons and Black War Greymon, so you could argue that's not budget. But anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and attack for game because my opponent did not have any blockers or anything else he could kind of work with there. So game 2, my opponent is going to start, and you see my hand there, no Megas, again, not drawing into anything, but that's okay because Shakuamon can let you stall for a bit. He does have a very solid passive effect to kind of stun your opponent. My opponent is going to Digivolve into the D-Brigade there, the Commandramon, and then play the Gotsumon for 3, which I thought was a little bit weird that he's playing Gotsumon, considering it's a very aggressive deck. But I guess because sometimes you don't care if your Sealsdramon dies, you might need another blocker, and Black does have access to lots of blockers, so it doesn't hurt to play a little defensive engine as well. I'm going to go ahead and Digivolve into the Shakuamon there, and unfortunately for my opponent, he's going to run into the Mat Insecurity once again, guaranteeing me the 3 memory. Mat is just so good. I think BT1 Mat is a little bit underused just because the source stripping is not the best, but with Marine Chimeramon, I think it's pretty legitimate. So he's going to play the Gogmamon, which is for an 8 cost, which is really bad because it is a Digiverse Digimon, but my guess is that he has some 6s and 7s in his hands that he wants to just, put on the field and maybe go into a Chaosmon or an Ultras or a Millenniumon or something like that. So anyways, I'm going to bring out that Shakuamon, and you do see that I've got the Marine Chimeramon as well as the Hammer Spark in hand. So I think I'm going to just Hammer Spark for 1, putting me at 4 memory, and then Marine Chimeramon. I do also gain 1 memory off of the Gomamon there because I did play the Gabumon and then, strip the source off of the mat. And then I'm just going to play the Marine Chimeramon for a total cost of 7, bouncing back his Gagumamon and then bouncing back my Gabumon so then I can play it the following turn and draw some more cards. I mean, I do have 3 in hand, so I guess that wasn't extremely necessary, but I do want to get rid of the Gagumamon anyways because it does seem like he doesn't have the best hand, so I want to keep it that way, right? He is going to Digivolve into the Tankmon, so it might have unbricked his hand a little bit. He does finally have the champion, and then we're just going to see the Gogmamon once again for 3, and I'm going to start my turn with 3 because of Matt. So then I'm going to go into the Gomamon there, finally drew into an Omnimon, or one of the really powerful, like, kind of game-ending cards I'm running in my deck, but I don't really have, like, a level 6 to go into quite yet. So I think the plan is just to keep drawing cards until I can get into level 6. So because of that, I'm going to play the Gabumon and draw a card, and then suspend Matt and get rid of the bottom card of one of my opponent's sources. So getting rid of that Gatsumon there. And from there, I don't actually have any level 4s either, so not really sure what I can do. Oh, but I will also gain a memory off of the Gomamon. Again, super powerful card, and then I'm just going to swing with the Shikumon, stripping another card from the Ikakumon, and then drawing a card from the Upamon because he does have Digimon without sources. That was a little bit risky, but I did want to get the extra memory as well as the Ikakumon and the Upamon draw, because I really do need the draws right now. It didn't really help me out though, so I'm thinking I'm just going to hard play another Marine Chimeramon, bounce the Gabumon or the first Marine Chimeramon to get rid of his Gogmamon once again. Yep, so I'm going to... Okay, so yeah, I'm going to bounce the Chimeramon. Again, I just think this loop is kind of cool, that you can just keep reusing both Chimeramons just by bouncing each other to get rid of your opponent's level 5 Digimon. But he's going to bring out his Commandramon, just swing into my security, and then not going to be able to swing with the other Commandramon because, again, Shikuamon does have the security -2, security tag -2 effect. And I'm just checking his trash to see how many he has in case we might see a Darkdramon soon, and we are going to see another Commandramon played for 2 and a Tankdramon played for 7, putting my memory at 3. So I'm going to unsuspend all my cards, bring out the Gomamon there, tabletop, doing tabletop things, and then I did actually draw into the Z Garurumon, which is super nice. Finally got a nice level 6 that I can go into, put some pressure on him, and then go into Omnimon the following turn probably, and you can just see how much advantage I have against this deck, just kind of steamrolling, like, you know, late game when you can build up your Shikumon and then just draw cards with the Gabumon and control the field with your Marine Chimeramon, stuff like that. That's kind of the goal of this deck, but still don't have any level 4s in my hand right now. So I'm just going to play Gabumon for 3, drawing a card off of that, drawing that Gagumon, and then playing one more Gabumon. Might as well go wide here. Black doesn't really have too many removal options. Like, he's got Dark Roar and, like, Infinity Cannon, but he can't kill me this turn unless he plays a Darkdramon, which I guess he potentially could, but he won't be able to check my security because I do have the Shikumon. So I felt safe doing that, even though he does have access to some Digimon with the Rush ability. And then he's going to just play the Commandramon for 2. We've seen 5 Digimon in play, and then he's going to play Izzy for a memory cost of 3. Izzy lets you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck whenever played, and then stack them in any order, and if all of those cards were black, you get to gain 1 memory, effectively making him a 3-cost memory tamer. So that's pretty cool. It's not going to be, like, he's going to gain the memory, but I'm just going to go back to 3 anyways because I've got the mat. I'm going to draw a hatch, and then let's just go ahead and Digivolve the Gomamon. And with 6 Digimon in play and not really fearing his security at all, I highly doubt there's going to be anything, but even if there is, I've got plenty of cards in my hand to kind of get around that. I'm going to run into security with the Gabumon. Second Gabumon attacks, he's got no blockers. I'm going to run it into a Millenniumon, and then I'm going to swing with the Gomamon. They're drawing a card off of the Upamon for good measure. Hits me with a Dark Roar, so Dark Roar actually does have the security effect, so activate this card's main effect, so he's going to be able to delete something with a cost of 7. So deleting the Marine Chimeramon, but it's not going to be enough because I do have enough attacks for game. So guys, that's going to be the game. If you did enjoy the video, let me know down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.